So you need to plan a trip and you don't have a lot of time to plan it and you don't have a lot of time to book it, right? And so you're trying to decide, do I just do it myself or do I hire a travel agent to do it for me, right? This is the question that I had in my mind. And this is probably the question that you have in your mind. So that is what this video is going to be about. This video is going to be about the truth, some of the hard truths about hiring a travel agent and the pros and cons of hiring an agent or just booking it and DIYing the trip yourself. My name is Inez. I'm a life and travel coach for Black women, and I help them confidently take the trips they want and the trips they need. So if that's something that you would be interested in, make sure you like and subscribe and leave me a comment. So here's the backstory. Some of the things that I have been experiencing recently has been around my very first time using a travel agent, right? I am someone who's traveled for years. Even when I was younger, I traveled a lot. I've been to over 22 countries and I have never used a travel agent at all. Like, even when I was a very novice traveler, I still didn't use an agent. And I just chalked it up to being the fact that I've always had the internet. So I'm just super comfortable with doing things and having the control in my hands. But I really wanted to better understand, like, why am I really not leveraging them when I am also the person who's completely okay with outsourcing to people who are experts? So I decided for my best friend's birthday, for her trip to Bali, I was going to use a travel agent because there's a lot of things going on in my life right now. If you're watching my journey playlist, there's a lot of things going on. So I'm like, the last thing I want to do is actually book a whole group trip for everybody who's going, right? And so I decided to reach out to an agent. Unfortunately, the process is not going as fast or as smooth as I'm used to when I'm planning for myself. And so I really wanted to get an understanding of, was I the only person who felt like I would rather just do it myself? So I put a post on Facebook and basically asked people, like, are you using travel agents? If not, why? If so, why? And it basically blew up my whole page. And so what I'm going to be sharing here are some of the pros and cons that I have, but then also some of the pros and cons that I got from over 50 plus paragraph-like comments on this post on my page. And if you want to check it out, make sure you go look at it at International Inez or Inez A. Chimangariso on Facebook. Okay, so let's dive in. So I want to talk about some of the objections that people who are agents or people who use agents all the time have. The first thing I always hear is, you're going to pay commission either way, right? You're going to pay commission. It's not like you're going to get a cheaper price by using an online site. You have to pay a travel agent, or you're just going to have to pay a site, which, as I go through the pros and cons, is true sometimes. And I don't necessarily know if they are comparable in how much you pay, right? The other thing is that people say that anytime you're unfamiliar with the destination or you haven't been, it's best to use a travel agent because they are going to be most knowledgeable and they're going to be able to plan the best itinerary for you. I flat out don't agree with that at all. And I'll tell you about it in my pros and cons, but I'm the type of person, like, the internet is vast. And even for Bali, for instance, it took me like 30 to 45 minutes to become an expert on the destination that I was going to. And we're going to 2 different places. And it really just didn't take a lot of time, but that's because I know the tools and I know how to use them in order to quickly become an expert on a place, right? The other thing is, people will say that the travel agents are best to use because they're going to give you the most exclusive deals. And there's certain things that you can't access unless you use an agent, which is true. But again, as I go through the pros and cons, you'll see that it's only true for very specific types of things, like, I believe, luxury travel, right? So I'm going to get into these pros and cons. Let's go. The first thing is, so for me, I feel like if you're using an agent versus using just the internet online, is like if you were shopping at Costco or if you're someone who shops at Whole Foods, right? So if you think about Costco, the reason why people go to Costco is because they want stuff that is provided in bulk. It's usually generic things that everybody wants, whether it's toilet paper, paper towels, these type of things that everybody's going to buy or you're going to buy a lot of. And they're going to buy it wholesale and you're going to be able to get it at a discount price because they got it at a discount price, right? But it's not going to be like really unique, specific items that are tailored to a very specific type of family or type of diet that people have, right? So when I think about using a travel agent, I think about packaged vacations. If you're going to go to the Hilton, if you're going to go to the Marriott, if you want an all-inclusive experience, if you want a big box experience where, you know, everybody's going to Sandals in Jamaica and this agent is, you know, connected to Sandals. And so you can get all of the things that come along with the Sandals, right? Something that's going to feel familiar. And technically for most people, it's going to feel more safe, right? To go and experience that. If you are going to find something online yourself, you're able to build a more curated experience. And that's what I've been doing for a long time. For over 10 years, I planned trips for Black and brown people to go to Black and brown countries to travel, serve, and learn. And in doing that, I was building itineraries that were very intentional, right? We were choosing certain hotels because of who they were owned by and where they were located. We were choosing certain experiences because they were owned by small business owners who lived in the community and we wanted our dollars to go to them, right? If you're curating those type of things, right, you probably aren't going to be able to use an agent because the agent is not going to be able to have that productized for you, right? They only have access to the types of big box things that their travel agency, right, has purchased, right? So for instance, if you want to go on your trip and you want to stay at an Airbnb and then you want to fly to a certain destination and fly to another destination, or say for instance, you want to stay at a VRBO or a very specific boutique hotel, or you want to really customize experience that is more off the beaten path or includes certain cultural things, it's very unlikely that a travel agent is going to be able to put that together for you and provide it to you in a packaged way through their agency, okay? So that's one of the biggest differences that I can see offhand is Costco versus Whole Foods. Like, there's certain things I go to Costco for, and then I go to Whole Foods because it's a store, but it has all of the unique things that are very specific for my diet, which is vegan, by the way. But anybody who has a very specific diet is going to be able to buy very specific things all at Whole Foods in one place, right? So I think that's the benefit of having a site as opposed to an agent. The other thing is, if you're looking for convenience versus control, this is subjective, right? A lot of people say that convenience comes with having an agent because you don't have to do anything, right? You don't have to book it yourself, which is true. But you also are giving up some of your control on what you actually can experience. They say that there's lack of convenience when you're building it yourself because you got to scour the internet, which is not necessarily true if you know how to use the tools, and I'm going to get into that later. But the benefit is that you have more control, so you are able to like find the deals and do those type of things differently, right? So sometimes having the convenience can also lead to a slower resolution. So for me, in sending over an itinerary of these are the things that we want to do in Bali, I felt like the return on here's how much it costs is happening too slow for me right now, right? Like, I could put in this information into a site online or even build it myself, and I would have the understanding of how much it was going to cost almost immediately, if not the next day. And I feel like it's going slower because I'm leveraging somebody else who's leveraging somebody else, right? Because she's not as familiar with Bali either, and so she's having to kind of outsource it to someone else, right? So that's what can potentially come along when you are creating a curated experience with a agent who may be used to only providing like pre-packaged experiences, okay? Now I want to get into the differences between commissions and how people are getting paid, so that you can understand, like, is there a real benefit, right? Are you saving money by using a travel site like Orbitz or Expedia? Or are you saving money by using a travel agent instead? So a lot of the sites that you're using online, and in addition to the travel agents that you will use, are not going to be getting paid commissions for flights, right? Back in the day, agents as well as sites could charge extra for a flight, and they would include that commission price so that you, the traveler, would be paying it. Then the internet got big and vast, And the airline sites started selling flights on their sites alone. So that stopped sites like Priceline, Kayak, Expedia from including the fees, the extra commission on theirs, because you could go to the airline site and get the flight for the baseline price without all the fees, right? So regardless of where you buy a flight, if you decide to book your flight through your agent, a travel agent, or if you decide to book a flight through an online portal, it's very unlikely that you're going to be charged a significant fee, because if you are, then they're pretty much pricing themselves out of the market, right? So some sites like maybe like an Expedia may have like a booking fee, but it's going to be something pretty small, although those can add up. But with regard to like having to pay extra fees for the flight piece of your travel, is not really something that you should have to really consider. Most sites, as well as most travel agents, are really going to be making the majority of their fees and their commissions on accommodations and packages that they put together, right? So let's just dive into those. If you want to think about the difference between how a travel agent or even like a travel agency is paid in comparison to the way a like a website, right? So a Kayak or Priceline is paid. I like to think of it like a wholesaler and an affiliate, right? If somebody is a wholesaler, that means they have gone and purchased a product. They're taking it to their store and they're selling it to you with a commission on top of it, right? They have gotten it at a cheap price. They're adding some sort of margin to it, and then they're selling it at that margin, and their profit is based in the margin. Whereas an affiliate is someone who has a partnership with a company or a business. And every time they sell one of that business's products, they get a percentage of whatever it costs, right? So the price of it is not changing. Think of like, I don't even know who got a good affiliate program. I don't know. Amazon, right? Amazon affiliates, right? So if I'm an Amazon affiliate, I'm going to be able to just sell the stuff that Amazon is going to sell anyway. And if somebody uses my link to buy it, Amazon will give me a small amount, but Amazon is not going to pay. I'm not going to be able to charge you a different price. And it's not going to be exorbitantly more at all. It's just a piece is just going to come out. That's the difference between a travel agent or an online travel agency and just like a booking site, or I call them like flight aggregator sites, right? Or a travel search engine. Let's say a travel search engine. So if you're thinking about like Expedia, Orbitz, Travelocity, Priceline, and travel agents, these are all very similar things, right? They're all wholesalers. They have bought a product and they're selling it to you with a commission added to it, right? Some of the pros that I've seen for using these type of sites and using travel agents, right? Because they're all doing the same thing, is that they allow you to be a bit more hands-off. Like an agent is going to allow you to really be hands-off if you're the type of hands-off person. Like I'm not really the hands-off type of person in any area of my life. So maybe that's why this carries over to this one too. But if you're the hands-off person, perfect. If you like ask somebody else to do it, they're going to do it, right? If you don't feel like searching the internet at all, that's going to be the positive of using an agent. If you feel better if someone else is doing it because you consider them to be an expert in that space, in the travel space or in a destination, that's going to be the best thing to do, is to use an agent. They also are really good, like I was talking about earlier, at package deals. So if you want something that's all inclusive, if you want also the ability to be like, I want to be able to have a price match. So if something changes after I book it, you all will reduce the price to what the price changed to, that type of thing. Also, travel agents are great for large group travel. So if you're planning like a wedding, an anniversary, like where you're going to have a lot of people and you have to organize a lot of people's bookings, then it's going to be probably better to have a travel agent, just because you don't have to, if you're not the type of person who's going to actually manage those things, right? And then the other benefit of online travel agencies, as well as just a regular travel agent, is the potential of loyalty points and rewards. So you can get rewarded for using the same site over and over. So if you're familiar, like Expedia has actual rewards that you can get for using them over and over. So does Orbitz. Orbitz and Expedia are together, so you can use rewards from either one of those sites together on the same site, right? I don't know if travel agents have rewards, but they might, right? Who knows? They might. They're all pretty much individual businesses, so they can do whatever they want to do. But that's going to be a benefit or a pro to being able to use an agent. Some of the cons that I found is that a lot of people talk about the commission. Now, I don't think the commission is a horrible thing because you're paying for the convenience, right? You're paying for the convenience and you're paying for their time as opposed to using your time. But some people would look at the paying the additional commission as a con, or in a commission for a travel agent is going to be the same thing as a booking fee on an online travel agency site, right? They're going to be similar. It's not a lot. I think travel agents get paid like 10% of whatever you book with them. Also, a travel agent can either have a fixed commission or they can have a commission that they just add on and they decide what it is. So that can vary. So anytime somebody says like you're going to pay the commission fees anyway, the commission fees vary across everything. Every site, every online travel agency site is going to have a different commission because again, they're buying it in bulk and they're deciding what their commission is. And then also every travel agent is potentially going to have a different commission based on the agency that they work for. So it's not okay to just group them all together and say commission is a commission is a commission, because that's not necessarily true. Also, this is the biggest thing for me. This is the biggest con for me. Travel agents are not necessarily travelers, right? And I know it's hard to like separate the two, but they may travel often, but to me, somebody who is really about that travel life has a way of critically spinning up fast on a destination, finding out what to do, connecting with the people there, creating curated experiences like fast. Like they know how to use the tools online to create an experience, right? And so so maybe that's not true. Travel agents are travelers, but they're not necessarily the best people to curate a travel experience. I think that may be a better way to say it, right? So there are travelers who go places, and then there are travelers who go places and build experiences in those spaces, right? And they can create it on their own. And that's not necessarily the case for a travel agent. So even though the objection sometimes is, it's when you don't know a place, it's better to use a travel agent because they're going to be more knowledgeable. I don't think that's necessarily true, right? They are using a tool that's very similar to the tools you have access online to use in order to book your trip. And a lot of them are restrained and constrained by that tool. Meaning if you are asking them to do anything outside of the tools they have, they can't really help you, right? Because they're just used to using that tool. So they may or may not be more knowledgeable. They may just have access to places that more people have leveraged so they feel safer, right? So if everybody who's using this one travel agency always uses these 4 packages, they have a lot of people who've gone to these places. But that to me doesn't take away the safety or the fun or the experience from any of the other places that may not be in their system. I hope this is making sense. Also, one of the cons for me is sometimes it can feel like they're moving too slow because they're confined by that system. And which is not a huge problem, but it is a problem for me who is used to running at the pace of an internet world, right? If I'm used to going to Google and getting it back immediately, or Kayak or wherever, to get it back immediately, and it's taking you 2 days, it's a problem for me. And then the other thing is, if you have to cancel or change anything and you've used a travel agent, you're going to have to use your agent in order to cancel or change, right? So one of my friends was telling me she got stuck because her flight needed to change and she couldn't get a hold of her agent, right? And they won't let you change it yourself because the person who booked it has to change it. So This isn't a problem if you're using an online travel agency like an Expedia, because of course they have 1,000,005 customer service reps. But if you're using a direct travel agent, it might turn into a problem potentially. Okay. So those to me are the pros and the cons of using travel agents, or even just online travel agencies. Let's dive into what I like to call the affiliate side. So these are travel search engines. So these are sites like Kayak, Skyscanner, Google Flights, Momondo. These are all sites that are going to pull together. They're called flight aggregators. They pull together, or just travel aggregators. They pull together all of the information from all of these sites on the internet. This is why the idea of I don't have time to do it, to search the internet, so I'm just going to use an agent, may not necessarily be the best idea or even the best thought, because there are sites like this that will search the internet for you so that you can just go to one spot. Like I use Kayak all the time. You go to one spot and it can tell you all the things. It pulls in information from Expedia, from Priceline, from Orbit. So you're not having to scour the internet. Everything is all in one place, right? And that's one of the pros, but I hadn't even got there yet. So let's dive into the pros. The first thing is, like I was just saying, full visibility, right? To both single and package deals. So if I want to go to Kayak and I just want to look up flights, I can look up flights across all airlines as well as across all online travel agencies. So they're going to pull in information from all the sites so I can make the best decision. They also have package deals. So if I want to go on Kayak and I say, oh, I want to go to Bali and I want to pull together the flight and the hotel, I can look for that too. And they will show me what sites like Priceline or Expedia have the best flight and hotel bundle, right? I love that, right? I love to be able to kind of just compare on my own, because certain sites aren't going to show you all the other sites. So I think that's one of the biggest pros for using a online travel search engine. The other thing is they're going to help you determine the best time to travel. So for instance, Kayak has an explore feature. So you can go and literally just see, you can put in certain metrics like I want a flight price at this amount. I want to travel sometime between September and December. They can tell you, here's the places you can fly for the cheapest. So if you're super flexible about where you're going and when you're going, you can use these type of sites in order to be able to do that. Whereas a travel agent is not going to be able to tell you that, and neither is a online travel agency site like an Expedia. Also, they have some good exclusive deals based on their partnerships. And I think that may be with both. But I think because certain sites know that a lot of people use these search engines, they're giving them really good deals to sell. The other thing is you're not going to have to worry about fees, right? Because these sites are affiliates. So when you think about an affiliate, as an affiliate, you're not charging a fee. You're just making money off of the sale. So you're not getting an extra charge from Kayak for booking on Kayak, because you're not even booking on Kayak, right? If you go and you click on the button, you'll see it'll always take you to the site that you're actually booking it on, right? So the commission is not necessarily there. Some of the cons that come along with using these type of travel search engines instead of using, for instance, like a travel agent, is going to be like you have full control and you also have full responsibility. So at the end of the day, like, you will need to put the pieces together, and then whatever happens from you putting those pieces together, that's on you, boo. Okay. If you do use these sites to book through an online travel agency, so for instance, an agency is going to be like an Expedia. If you go on Kayak and the thing you select and you book it on Expedia, then you're still going to be held to the rules and regulations of Expedia, right? So if you need to change something, you're still going to have to go through Expedia. You can't go through Kayak. They're not going to be able to refund you because you did not book through them, right? That's why I like to say that they're affiliates, not wholesalers. Another thing is, one of the people who commented on my post said, like, if you're going to use an agent, it's like renting. And if you're going to use your own site, it's like owning. When you rent something, like if anything goes wrong, you got to call somebody to fix it, right? If you're owning your own house, if anything goes wrong, you're going to have to go fix it. But you also get the benefits of home ownership, right? So those are kind of the differences between the two. But overall, for me, like, booking with an agent is a no. It's a no for me. It's a no. At this point, it's a no. And I think it's because of all of the things that I've shared here, but basically the sites that I'm using give me a lot of power in planning my travel, right? I think that it's valuable to know these tools, right? I think it's valuable to know how they work. I think it's valuable to know how to use them. I think it's valuable that I can decide if I want to use them or if I don't, and how I want to use them, because I have an understanding of them. Not outsourcing that understanding removes my power, right? So if I don't have any understanding and I'm just handing it over to an agent, what happens when I'm on the trip and I need to be able to make certain moves and make certain decisions or change certain things? Now I'm also outsourcing that, right? I believe that it's important to have that power and use it and leverage it when you want to. And then if you decide that you don't want to, like I thought I was going to for Bali, and that you want to leverage an agent, then you can do that too, right? But still be able to have the confidence to do it for yourself, if at all possible. I'm not the type of person, like, I don't believe in gatekeeping on the travel planning, right? Like, I'm not the person who's like, oh no, I got to plan it for you because I know best and you're going to get the best thing with me. I'm not that person. Like, I'm the person who wants to empower you to do it yourself. I want you to feel how I feel when it's time for me to come plan a trip. Like, even if I'm stressed about certain things, like, I know how to solve the problems that come along with travel planning, with travel logistics, with travel money, in destination, out of destination, and in between, right? I can do that. I have the power to do that. And I want the people that I work with, I want my clients to have that same power. So that is why using a travel agent is a no for me. So yeah, so I mean, at this point, using an agent is going to be the absolute last option for me. And even for this trip to Bali, I feel like I'm just gonna say, you know, I appreciate your effort. However, I'm going to just finish booking it myself. I actually just found a hotel and flight package on Kayak for the hotel that I suggested to the agent. And it is within our budget. So I'm like, we could just book that on Kayak and then I could just add in the experiences that we want and it's done, right? So at this point, it's just gonna be a no for me. So let me know what your biggest takeaway was from this. Are you the type of person who is definitely going to use an agent? Are you the type of person who is definitely going to use your own sites and DIY it? Or are you somebody who, you know, is still confused? Like, do you still have other questions that you want to ask? If you like this video, then I know that you are one of my people. So make sure you like it, subscribe, and turn on notifications to make sure you are back when I release new videos about how to transform your life through travel. If you're someone who wants to learn the sites, right? You want to build the confidence to be able to book, plan, make informed decisions about the trips that you want to take. Make sure you head over to my description. There is a link down there where you can book a one-on-one call with me and we can talk about how we can work together so that you are just as informed and just as confident as I am when it comes time to book your trips, and you can decide whether you want to use an agent or if you just want to do it yourself, you have the power to do it yourself. Until we meet again, stay tripping.